think it's July 1st, 2020. We're sitting here. Seemed like an incredibly happy day. Are you kind of a little bit stunned to be thinking almost a year later we're sort of back to the same battle that you've been having for years?
Yeah, I think everyone is. It's not just me.
When did you become aware that this was not settled? Because in a way it was, we thought it was agreed, but it turns out it was an informal agreement, that it hasn't been entirely put down on paper. When did you become aware that there was trouble here again?
Well, being honest about it, I probably knew it was going to kick off at some stage, because although we did make agreements with the council last year, we made agreements with the council and we made agreements with the councillors. We had a good few plans. It took a long time to get to that position, but the last conversation we had with the main man from Sisks, Brendan, was that we all made agreements. Okay, so we can land here. This actually is the fisherman's landing area, and
right?
That's not a problem.
Right.
We can land our catch here. We can get access to here. To get the
Now, is
catch
that
off.
something that was always on the plans, or is that something that's been agreed recently?
That was put into the see, I suppose everyone from the council and the councillors was willing to bend on a lot of things, okay?
Right.
But there was one man in the place who wasn't willing to bend on anything, which was Bernard.
Yeah.
So, lucky enough, Sisks had got it put into his contract. That was to be the fisherman's landing area.
And when did that happen exactly? When was that put into the agreement? Was that recently, or was
No, that was back at the start, I would imagine.
So when it came to all the protests and all that, was that not known then that is officially an area?
Funny, it was. You see, there was part of the planning permission to get here, to build here,
Right.
was that they had to provide the fishermen with a landing area.
I know that slipped off the map at one point, or on the plans.
What supposedly was to be here was the south pier where the boat yard
Yeah.
is. That was the fisherman's area, which included the landing area, the berthing area. Then we
It
would
was
have
pretty much built for that. You can see it.
Yeah, it was.
So this second part, sorry, the one here then, when did that come into the plan? That must have been later on then that they decided secondly.
Part of the planning was that they had to provide that.
Right.
And then part of the other planning was that they had to replace the fishermen's huts.
Okay.
Which were replaced. We still haven't been allocated to us, some
Right.
years later. So the problem was always with where we left the boats.
Right.
Because they wanted us originally to put them on swinging moorings out in the outer harbour, which was never going to work. And like that was said many years ago.
But that's what I'm thinking now. We kind of know now a lot of the history of, and as I said, when we came to July 1st last year, I thought, well, brilliant, now we've actually got to the end of that ridiculously long and winding road just to be able to land your catch here. So it's only really in recent months that it's sort of really reared its ugly head again, that as much as we thought everything was fine, Bernard, who's the harbour master and marine operator and all that, he has been adamant that he is in the right, that you're not allowed to do.
Yeah, well, see, this is where the argument started, was because the problem of where we tied up our boats came up, and to be fair to Sisks and Brendan G, they looked at every possibility of building pontoons for us.
Yeah.
Looked at everything. You got engineers down to look around the harbour to see what they could do with what was here, and there was really nothing that they could do. So at that point we said, well, there's a perfect place for up on that north wall, which is where we were tying up.
Right.
And he said, we're staying there until you come up with a proper alternative to that. And he said, well, Brendan's not going to be happy about Bernard's not going to be happy about that. And we said, well, you can deal with him, you give him the lease, you let him into the place, so you can sort that out. That was the last conversation we had at everyone. And as you know, we were here all summer. Nothing really.
Now we should say that the one thing that has changed is that extra pontoons have been put in. These are the sort of boulevard walkways, whatever, that are for the boat, for the yachts to dock. Far more lucrative than having a fisherman dock in there. Is it physically not possible to be beside these guys? Is that the problem?
Look, there's all the world there for us to tie up.
Right.
There's no one that could argue any different.
Okay.
But I mean, if you want to cause trouble, you can cause trouble.
So what do you think it is? Do you think it ultimately is just, and Bernard, as I said, he we'll put his statement here in the piece. I mean, he feels he's in the right here, but do you think it's just a dislike of the idea of fishermen here?
Yeah, totally. I mean, as I said, at the meetings, there was 14, 15 of us around the table, and everyone wanted to get this sorted out once.
Yeah.
There was one person who didn't. It was Bernard. Be him right or be him wrong, I don't know. But that's
So I know that Mags Crean has sort of stepped forward as a local councillor. She's put messages to CISPAR, who own the entire kind of operation here for the 30-year lease, and she hasn't got a reply from them yet, and she is deeply concerned about the fact that this public-private ownership, that really, you know, the private ownership part of it, of this particular business, shouldn't, you know, override the public community. I don't know if you kind of see a way out of this, whether you think it's really just a case of Wicklow County Council stepping up
it's without a doubt. I mean, the council are saying, you know, the last we heard was the council saying it was between CISCs and the marine operator. Right. It's not, like, because it's the council who created this problem. Right. I mean, as you pointed out, it's a public wall, okay? How can we arrive at a situation where a leaseholder of a part of the harbour, you know, has authority over a public part of the harbour? I mean, how would that happen?
I mean, you are kind of at that dividing line, because you know, whatever about, you know, obviously the walkways and all that, and people can come down here. But I guess when it comes to the actual docking of boats and all the rest, it should absolutely be, you know, right that you can put your boat here. But I guess that's where the grey area is starting to kick around a little bit.
It could have been sorted a load of times, but as I said, there's no willingness from somewhere.
Mags has said that she has emailed the other councillors. A lot of them could be sort of, you know, wary at this stage of having gone into this battle before. But I don't know whether you're optimistic, whether you feel that there is an easy solution, or whether you think, I don't know. I mean, it's a hard one to gauge, because there's no question you should be able to. Yeah. But then you get into the law can be an ass, and you're just trying to figure out what exactly happened here, because, you know, we could certainly sing a few ballads about how the harbour has become a commercial place, but that is the reality, and we have to sort of just figure out a way forward. So I'm just wondering, sorry, if you're optimistic, or whether you think there's an easy way forward ultimately, or
I think there's a willingness from 95% of the people to, you know, to get it forward. Yeah. What we do is very small scale. It's, you know, there's three of us. It's, you know, it's.
And you're not smuggling diamonds or drugs or anything like that.
At the moment, anyway. We've been thinking about it.
Alright, just but it is something that I said that hopefully CISPAR will respond to. That not only is it a kind of, you know, a great tradition to have fishermen in Greystones, but it does seem, to me, it just seems like a very positive thing to have. It looks great. It feels like we're part of the history.
Yeah. There's no negatives, you know, especially in the small scale fishing that we do. There's no negatives to it. It's, what we do is sustainable, selective fishing. There's nothing bad about it, you know.
Well, as I said, I'm stunned that we're back here talking about a problem that we thought was solved last year. I do really feel that, you know, it's like when the night's this long, people start to give up a little bit of the sort of the fight. But having said that, I mean, it's a fight that should be won and it should be fought. So
it should be. Well, that's why we put so much time and effort into it, because we're like, if we don't do it, that's the end of the fishing from Greystones. You know, if we don't fight this fight,
we'll be keeping in touch. We spoke with Mags during the week. I know she's pushing this. We'll try and hopefully have some sort of response from CISPAR within the next few days and the next week. And it is kind of, it's the ball is in their court, because they're the big, you know, daddies. They can turn around to Bernard or whoever and just say, this is how it's going to be. We'll figure it out between us. So I'd be optimistic, but I don't know whether that's something that I'm just being silly, because I'm not the one who's going out on my boat and getting grief when I come back in.
I mean, as I said to you, we were the same. We were no different. We thought things were going quite good. I don't think anyone got upset with us last year. You know, we thought this year would be the same. But
okay, well, fingers crossed. We'll keep on top of this, and I'd say, you know, obviously you say 95%. I think 99.9% of the people in the town would like it to happen. There is a business interest here that, as I say, they have certain things they want to also protect, but there's no reason this can't exist, coexist.
Exactly. There's 9 of us employed on the 3 boats here. We've a fantastic.
But also, as I said, even if you're just being, you know, taking the John Hind route, it just looks and feels right that there's fishermen in the town and all that. They don't smell anymore, sure they don't?
No, we wash ourselves.
Oh, that's good. Okay, rock and roll.